Alright everybody, hello, and welcome to another ESO video here. We are doing Elden Hollow 1. Just on normal, because I am in fact soloing this shit. Because after the previous day, as of when I'm recording this, I am not putting up with fucking randoms again. If I don't have to, and if I do, it's gonna only be on, you know, like the DLC or whatever I can't do on my own. So, but yeah, because yesterday, when I attempted to do this, I queued in for a word on vet, and when I finally got in after waiting for 10 minutes in the queue, which wasn't as bad as the previous day. The previous day I was like 30, 40 minutes with nothing, so, you know. Guess I can't really complain about that, but got the quest because I haven't done this. Alright, let's fucking do this shit.
By the Imperium light, move faster. The more bones you find, the suit halt. You'll go no further.
But yeah, we get into the dungeon with my random group, and, the first thing, of course, that pissed me off was that they just kind of left me behind. And on top of that, when I did start catching up, they just kind of were skipping trash mobs, like these guys here. So I'm like, you know, trying to catch up, but I'm getting bogged down by the fact that I'm having to kill the trash mobs, which, you know, this shit's on vet. You know, I'm not killing trash mobs on vet by myself. Are you kidding me? So, you know, I died. They made it to the first boss area. They took probably like 20 minutes or better to kill the first boss. Which it's like, you know, I had to sit there dead for 20 minutes waiting for them to kill the first boss. And then, once they did, you know, they didn't come back to res me, of course. I had to use Soul Gem to, bring myself back. So they head to the second boss, and I start catching up with them. But I'm gonna say it, the second boss is in fact where shit hits the fan with this group. It's not a hard boss, but, you know, we were fighting it, and our other DPS, because I'm a DPS on this particular character, our other DPS, they kept dying. Then that's what they were doing. They were just dying over and over again. And so, eventually our other DPS leaves. They just exit group. You know, leaving me, the tank, and the healer to kind of fend for ourselves. And I don't know what happened, because the tank was doing fine. You know, unless the tank was just mad because the DPS left or whatever, but, I mean, that's possible. Um, and anyway, so our tank leaves eventually, um, leaving literally me and the healer at the boss, mind you. We're still on the second boss. And so I'm flipping out because I'm left alone. And you know, the second boss was like, it's one of those, where was it? Those plant things that I just killed. Those grabby ones. It was one of those, but like bigger, you know? And, okay. And, you know, literally, I'm sitting here as if this is like a solo thing, right? It was one of these guys, like a big strangler, the second boss is. And so I'm like, okay. Like, I guess I'm just gonna have to fight this thing myself, because I thought, well, even if our tank and our DPS left, it'll just put me back in the queue to, to get a new, tank and DPS, right? Which is what's supposed to happen. And so, you know, it puts us in the queue, and I think, alright, that's fine. You know what? I will just fucking wait. I'll kill the boss, which I did, mind you. I killed the second boss of this dungeon on Vet, basically by myself. Only with having the healer there to heal me. Right? No one else. No one and nothing else there for help. So we beat that boss, and, alright, I'm trying to focus here too, and also, but anyway, we beat the boss, and then, you know, me and the healer kind of just stand there for a bit, because we're like, well, what's, you know, at least I'm thinking in my head, they're not talking to me. Even though I said a few things in the group chat, I asked the healer if they were going to stay or if they were going to leave. They did not respond, they just stood there. So I hop over, you know, I alt-tab out while we had a second. And I told one of my friends from another guild, I said, hey, I'm in Elden Hollow, you know, 1 on Vet, and my tank and my other people just left. And he says, okay, invite me if you have crown, which, for those that don't know, when you do a group content in this game, having crown basically makes you the leader of the group, right? There'll be a little crown above your head and above your name. Like, if you can see where Miri's name is here, that's where the rest of the group's names would appear in a group dungeon with other people. So yeah. But anyway, and I did not have the crown. I was not the leader of the group. So, the healer was the one that, you know, was kind of just standing there, right? So I say to the healer in the group chat in the game here, I say, hey, can you pass crown? So I didn't want to do that. Can you pass crown? Because I want to invite someone who's going to help us. I get nothing. Literally nothing in response. So I ask again, and I ask again. Still nothing. So I'm getting fed up. You know, I'm telling my friend I'm trying. but that the person who has crown isn't responding. I feel like they probably went AFK. I don't know though. But anyway, so I I stayed, I stayed there for a bit, and eventually we got someone, right? The game chucked us another DPS our way. I'm like, alright, this is great. We got another DPS, about time. And the DPS had to, like, work their way to us, and they had to go through a bunch of mobs, which was kind of weird, because I'm, like, pretty sure we cleared all of them. But maybe not, whatever. I don't know how these things work. And so, this was the boss that all this went down at, by the way. Anyways, so I, ow, I, and once our new DPS caught up to us, by the way, um, you know, he catches up to us, and he also brought some of, like, that Alit that I just killed. He brought one of them over to us. I tried to fight it with him. He actually brought two of them. I tried to fight him with our new DPS, but I ended up getting killed. And our healer, since he was, basically AFK on us, away from keyboard, he dies as well. But our other DPS, actually I think he died too, or I don't know what happened, but I know he killed them. He killed the two Alits or Alits, whatever they're fucking called. And so I res myself, and I look at the healer on the ground, right? And I'm just like, okay, I will res you. And so I do. I offer him a res. And he declined it. He just stays there lying down dead. So I look at our new DPS guy, and I'm just like, well, I'm trying. I tell him that I think that the healer is AFK, right? Because he's just, don't you dare. Because he's just fucking standing there. He said, don't you dare do that to me. But anyway. And so I tell our new DPS that our healer went AFK. And, that I'm trying to invite someone to help us, but that I can't because he, the healer has leader position. And so, we kind of just stand there for a bit, and then he leaves. He just leaves group, right? Everything, he leaves. So now I'm, like, furious. Like, this whole situation is just fucking furiously making me furious. And, my friend, he's, whispering me in the game, for the invite, and I say, well, I can't, because our healer is dead, and he's not accepting the res, and he's got the crown, so I can't do anything about it. So my brain decides to come up with the idea that, hey, you know what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave, because clearly our healer isn't wanting to play ball anymore. So I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna go, I'm gonna leave the group, leave the dungeon. And I thought, yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna invite my friend. We're gonna come back to Elden Hollow 1 on Vet. Well, we're gonna queue, me and my friend. We're gonna queue and we're gonna go into it. And so I invite him and I try to put us in queue, it won't let me. And I notice that's because my friend now has Crown. And he was doing something at the time. I think he was in a delve. I don't know. And he says to me that I can join them wherever they are, but I'm just like, I don't want to. I just want to get this stupid dungeon done, because I'm, kind of having a piss time with it. And I don't know what I don't know what it was that made him do this. Okay, my friend is like this. And sometimes it's okay. A lot of the times it kind of pisses me off. And this is one of those times, right? Because I'm like trying to get through Elden Hollow, right? Because I was already not in the mood that night, right? Especially at the time I was doing this. Like, I was tired. It was already getting kind of crabby. And so on and so forth, right? So, and he knew because I was complaining to him about how Elden Hollow was going. He knew that's what I was doing. So what does this dipshit do? He cues us for fucking Vet Coral Ari, whatever, however it's pronounced, which was the DLC dungeon from the previous day. I had no intention of doing Coral Airy or Irie, or however the fuck it's pronounced, on Vet. I did not. Okay, I've never done that one. I literally, as of recording this, only got that DLC that includes that dungeon like 2 days ago. Literally 2 days ago. Okay, so I haven't done any of that. And, DLC dungeons are much harder. And most of the time, I'm only ever going to do them on normal because of how hard they are. But my friend is the kind of ESO player that, like, if you're not doing everything on Vet, you're not doing it right in his mind. Like, when they release, like, a new expansion to the game that has new dungeons and shit, like, he's the person that will just go in to it blind as fuck, on Vet, right? Just figure it out as you go kind of thing, which, more power to him, if that works for him. I don't really care if that's how he wants to do things. Me? No. The only time that I am comfortable doing a Vet DLC dungeon is if I absolutely have to. And if I have to, probably means for gear. For example, this character that I'm on here needs a run through Vet Scalecaller Peak, which is a DLC dungeon. Because I need the monster helm from it. Otherwise, I would never, ever, 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 ever go to Scalecaller Peak on Vet. I wouldn't. But anyway, so he puts us in Coral Airy on Vet, and then I learn, because he brought 2 people with him, probably the 2 people that he was with in whatever delve that they were doing, right? He brings them with him. Now this is what boggles my mind. One of these people was like 500 CP, I want to say. The other person, I think, was like 1600 CP, I don't know. But anyway, it was me and my friend doing DPS, and the 2 people that he brought doing the, the tank and healer roles. But, you know, I thought, you know, initially, I was like, you know what, I trust my friend. I was like, I feel like he is trustworthy enough that these people will be fine, right? That's what I thought. But oh, how wrong I was, okay? We got to, I want to say the first boss in Coral Area. Second boss, actually. The second boss. Which was this big, like, spider lady. I don't know how to say the name of. There's this spider lady, let's just call it. And, oh my god. Now, mind you, again, this is my first time doing Coral. And I soon learned after this that, you know, it was probably the one or both of the people that he brought with him. It was their first time as well. And we go into this boss, and he doesn't explain the mechs to any of us, you know? It's like, yeah, this is our first time. And you're just not going to explain mechs at all? Like, what are you doing? Okay, final boss. Okay. But he doesn't explain the mechs until after our first group wipe. Then he asks in the group chat if we know mechs, to which me and one other person basically said no, we don't know mechs. And then he types sigh and then okay, ... which it's like, bro, you are fucking pissing me off with this attitude, first of all. You should have asked about mechs before we started, before our first group wipe. Get up. You know, like, I don't know why you waited till after we group wiped. And, you know, I had told him previously, a previous time when I was complaining about, or when I got him to go to Red Petal Bastion with me, and I told him that I had never done it, that it was my first time, and I said I literally just got this DLC like 2-3 days ago at that time. So he knew, the fucker knew I had never done this one. You know, what, okay, I'm gonna say it like this, because we wiped so many times on this boss that I just fucking left. I was like, nope, bye. You know, I was tired, I was pissed, frustrated. I'll be honest, it wasn't so much the group wipes that was pissing me off in that dungeon, but it was the constant, it's the fact that of how things went with him in general that night. Like, how do I say this? Like, you know, I asked him for help. He asked for an invite, which I gave him the invite like he wanted. But then he has Crown, because he's with 2 people. And then he just kind of takes over, he just kind of takes over my pledges. You know, decides for me that we're going into Coral, even though I wanted to do Elden Route 1 on Vet. Didn't even bother to ask me, you know, if it was okay to do Coral on Vet, because I would have instantly said, fuck no, it is not okay, because I've never done this shit. And I am not about to do this shit on Vet for the first time because of the DLC dungeon, which is fucking difficult. But he pissed me off. Honest to God, he did. I'll be honest, I was going to do groups today to get through some of these pledges, which I'm probably still going to because I don't think I can solo Blackheart Haven, and there's no way in hell I'm going to even try with Coral. There's no way in hell that's possible. So, yeah. I'm glad I was able to do this on my own, but yeah. But yes, that is my story, and pretty sure we're getting to the end of the delve here. Yeah, gotta go through there. There we go. Okay, you. Yay, so there we go. And that's my story of what happened as of recording this the previous day with pledges. So if you like this kind of content, feel free to subscribe. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.